I learn to drive, it was on a manual. And then shortly after getting my licence, my grandparents gifted us their car, which was a column change. Now that was fun. I didn't get my first automatic until my mid-20s. And then I saw an article today saying or asking, does driving a manual make you a better driver? I said to myself, well, 3 key facts here. The number of Kiwis driving manuals has been steadily dropping. The decline has been attributed to increased traffic, scarcity of manual cars, and automatics, of course, being less complicated to drive. 2023 data showed just 10,661 people took their restricted test in a manual. Over 74,000 opted for auto. And restricted licence holders who sat their test in an automatic are only allowed to drive automatic vehicles. But once the full licence has been obtained, drivers can opt for both. Drive what you want. But back to that question. Does driving a manual make you a better driver? Well, look, I think no. How can it? But does it make you more skillful? Well, to prove me wrong, it's my good friend and / car nemesis, Clive Matthew-Wilson from dogandlemon.com. Clive, hello.
Hello, you're wrong again.
Yay!
Okay, there's a really, really, really simple equation here.
Okay,
There's
go.
there's only one thing just about in the whole world that everyone agrees on, is that a mindful driver is a better driver than an unmindful driver.
Nice.
In other words, if you're on your phone texting, looking down while you're going over the Auckland Harbour Bridge, it may end very badly, right? If you're looking ahead of you and you're aware of what's going on, you're much less likely to have an accident. And the reality of manual driving is it requires you to be mindful pretty much all the time. The car will simply stop if you don't, or something will go wrong. So basically, you need to be a lot more... Yeah.
So you're saying that a manual driver is more mindful, so a better driver then?
Yeah, I'm telling you that. The modern cars, are largely automatic, and you can actually text or put makeup on or look sideways out the window at other cars, that are more expensive than yours, and run into them. Because one of the things that most studies have shown, which is why we still don't have fully automated cars, is computers tend to be very good at repetitive tasks. So changing gear is one of them.
Yeah.
Humans are much better at sudden or left of field problems. Right?
Okay.
A wheelie bin blows out in front of you. For example, you've got to react quickly, and the more mindful you are and the more skilled you are, the quicker you'll react. There's all sorts of really useful and proven automatic things within cars, to stop you running over pedestrians and into the car in front and so on and so forth. Great, I think they're absolutely wonderful, but there's not a driving instructor in the world or a cop in the world or anybody who deals with the aftermath of accidents who doesn't agree that the more mindful you are, in other words, just present where you are here now, is a better driver than a person who's not mindful. And, if you're coming up to a set of lights that have just gone green, you've got to select a gear.
Yes.
If you're going downhill, you might select second. If you're going uphill, it's first gear, and so on and so forth. And if you get it wrong, the drive goes wrong. So you've got to have a certain presence. If you try and take off in the wrong gear, it's always a joke. And if you've been taught by your father and you get the gear wrong, you get yelled at, right?
Yeah. Bunny hop.
The reality... It's very common for older drivers to do something that seems horrific when you view it from the outside. For example, they're trying to park, they become a little bit confused, the car's in reverse gear on automatic, they put the foot down and go straight over the top of the car behind.
Yep. Yes.
Right?
Do you know what, Clive? Can I tell you what's happened? It's actually happened to me years ago. My car was parked outside work, the station I was working at the time. We heard this almighty crash. Everyone went downstairs and there was my car on the sidewalk in a shop window, and an old man.
Former car.
my poor former car, and there's this old guy sitting behind the wheel, and that's exactly what he did. He kind of did a Yui, and then he thought into first, put it into reverse, put his foot down, and just gathered my car, and he would have been in his 80s. And I think Clive, what upset me was everybody got him, people got him a chair and got him a cup of tea and kept saying everything's all right. Well, I sat there crying at my car and nobody said anything.
What about Leah?
What about my poor car that was now in a shop window? But yeah, you're right. Dangerous.
So the more present you are, right, the less likely you are to screw up. The less present you are, the more likely you are to screw up. It requires much more mindfulness to drive a manual car than an automatic car. As you grow older and more experienced, it probably won't make a hell of a lot of difference. But, the reason, if you want to know why they don't have manual cars new much anymore, they're around but not very many, is it's really hard to put the modern safety features, such as electronic stability control. It takes over your engine if you're in a skidding situation and controls the accelerator, et cetera, to help you stop skidding into a lamppost. Right. On an automatic, that's really easy. On a manual, it's really hard. That's why there's less and less and less. But if I had a teenager that I was teaching to drive, I would insist that they learn to drive in a manual.
Good on you. I would too. Yep.